Hashem appears to Moshe and says, "Go to Paro and tell Paro that at the stroke of midnight, every firstborn in Mitzrayim, in Egypt, is going to die." Interestingly, when Moshe actually approaches Paro, he changes the message slightly. Approximately at midnight, every firstborn is going to die. And Rashi is troubled by the inconsistency. Why did Moshe change the message? Explains Rashi that Moshe was afraid for the following problem. The astrologers would be watching the clock. Paro's wise men would be studying carefully, and they would miscalculate. They might well think it's 11:45, when in fact it's 12, and when the Makkah begins, they might assume that it was not at the stroke of midnight, and they would say the words, "Moshe's a liar." And to avoid that problem, Moshe said approximately at midnight. God said somewhere around midnight the affliction would begin, so that the astrologers who would be watching the clock would not be able to catch Moshe in this lie. The problem with this Rashi is that it's very difficult to understand. In our modern world, we have very accurate time-keeping devices. We have atomic clocks, and we have wristwatches that are accurate to the hundredth of a second. But how did you tell time in the ancient world? During the day, you might have a sundial, which might have some accuracy. But at night, very, very difficult. Stargazing, you triangulate maybe, but a very imprecise science. So if you were an astrologer, what do you think are the odds that you're right? For the past 10 months, time after time, exactly what Moshe said would happen, happened in the exact method, in the exact time as prophesied. And now he said the words, "At midnight the plague will begin." And according to your stargazing, it's not midnight, but it's 15 minutes before midnight. Who do you think's right, you or Moshe? How is it possible that Moshe was afraid that the astrologers would call him a liar? Isn't it obvious that they're the ones who made the mistake? And I believe the answer to this Rashi is that Moshe understood fundamental human nature. We human beings don't like being wrong. My opinion, whether based or not, is my opinion. My opinion, whether I have substantiated it or not, is my opinion, and I don't want to hear it differently. One of the realities of life is that once I reach a conclusion, it's very difficult to change my mind, and Moshe recognized that in the astrologers. He recognized the fact that they would be very obstinate. Why? Because they assumed that it was 15 minutes to midnight, and they wouldn't accept the fact that they were wrong. More quickly would they assume that it's Moshe who was mistaken, and because of that, Moshe said approximately at midnight to avoid the issue. And I believe this Rashi shares with us a fundamental concept. If a person wants to grow, one of the first requirements is intellectual honesty. To put away my agenda, put away my bias, forget what my previous conclusions are, to ask myself one question: what do I think is the truth? What do I think really happened? And if a person is able to put away their bias, put away their agenda, Hashem gave us a heart that's truthful, a heart that understands. They're able to see the truth, they're able to grow, they're able to set a course of life of accomplishing what they were put here to do.